Right, welcome back to the program. You're watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Let's segue into the next conversation. Against the backdrop of the 64th independence anniversary of Nigeria, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election questioned whether Nigeria is truly progressing, while highlighting issues like poverty, out-of-school children, a struggling economy, and a ballooning debt profile. He also did point out how Nigerians need to fashion a way to address the issues that needed, urgent attention so that Nigeria can get back to its right track. This is not the first time the Labour Party presidential candidate is re-echoing this particular message. So what does he mean in the grand scheme of things, the big picture of this conversation? To help us dimension the thoughts and the understanding of the Labour Party's presidential candidate in the 2023 election is Dr. Yunusa Tanko, is the national coordinator of the Obedient movement. I must say, the newly appointed national coordinator of the Obedient movement. Good evening to you, and thank you so much.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
It's safe to say that he spoke plain English about what the institutional challenges are. For those who say that Mr. Peter Obi has still not switched off his campaign activities with his messaging, what do you want them to take away from what he said with respect to Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary message?
Ab initio, right from the beginning when he started his campaign, he had made it clear that it's all about good governance. It's about taking care of the people when they go to the hospitals. He's talking about education, electricity, agriculture, and food on the table. All about his messages have always been about good governance for the Nigerian people. These are the messages that resonated with the Nigerian people, that even allowed or led to the people who've been, like say, 12.5 million of the Nigerian youth registered just to vote. And the messages are consistent in that regard, and nothing has changed. I'll give you a simple example. We visited a hospital here in Abuja, somewhere very close to the airport, Tunga Alaji or something like that. You can't believe that there's only one nurse taking care of the rural area, just one nurse. Her name is Aisha. They don't even have doctors. Not talk about probably other staff that can work with them. The delivery room have no bed whatsoever. This is healthcare. When we move again, he constantly moved to the educational sector. We go to some classes, rooms, no chairs, no table. And you expect those particular children to learn. In what condition? We move further. On our way from Kaduna to Abuja, when we visited Kaduna, he built the Almajiri system of education. He sat down with those particular Almajiri and learned from them. Amazingly, he was shocked with the level of intelligence those particular children has. On our way back, the road from Kaduna to Abuja was just like you going to any local village, because some of the roads have not been completed. So it's amazing when some of the basic needs of the Nigerian people have not been taken care of. And those are his messages. And so for somebody who believes in such messages, he can never drop those particular messages until when certain things are being done in between those particular things.
There are people, Dr. Tanko, who have accused your principle of oversimplifying the solutions, because it's very clear that the scale of the problem outweighs the scale of the solution. That we perhaps don't have enough money to build all the roads we need. We don't have all the money in the world to address all of these gaps at a go. That it's going to take a long while for us to address these problems. What do you say to people who say that Peter Obi is pandering to the public and also oversimplifying the solutions?
It's a practical issue. You don't need rocket science to tell you the challenges that we have. And I don't believe, I find it difficult to believe that say Nigeria is broke, we don't have money. Let's even assume we have money. You go and borrow money for consumption rather than using the money for production. And then you expect people to still believe that. Look, practically, we just came back from Kigali, Rwanda. And he met Paul Kagame. And Paul Kagame was telling him that majority of your governors came to this particular country. And he was telling them, one of you, each one of you, one out of the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he said they are richer than Uganda. Uganda is squeaky clean. They don't even have, and I asked them, where does even your poor people live? They show me a valley because it's a hilly land. And I show me a valley and said, look, that's where most of the poor people live. I said, in this place? He said, yes, because I saw the place well organized. And then they now told me, one of the drivers now told me that those people that you saw, they are moving them gradually. The government of Kigali, Rwanda, had paid for the houses. And so they are building them a beautiful, befitting houses pretty soon. So that and their trust within the people and the government. In our own government, we are just talking about, I'll just give you an example of a road. But the government is thinking about building a new road from Calabar to Lagos. Trillions of naira. You want to explain to me, where are they getting that particular money to do this particular road when the one that we have not been finished? So, and practically, His Excellency Peter Obi had been a governor in Anambra. During his tenure, go and visit and verify. Each of the local government in Anambra State were linked with very good roads from every local government to the town. And I'm not saying this is what I heard. I'm talking about what I saw, because I was the chairman of the Interparty Advisory Council as at that time. And I repeated this particular situation. With the money that he had, he was able to build those particular roads, connecting the people with the land, the interland with the major land. And at the end of it all, after finishing as a governor, he left them money which they use in building the international airport. So these are practical examples that he has done. So when somebody had done something, he knew what he had done. He can easily see what these people are doing as against the interest of the people. And this is somebody who did not even spend this particular security vote money that they said. He spent it on the interest of the people. So prudency has been his own watchword. Interest is to build and build for the interest of the people. In the kind of states that we have, some of the states that we have, there are jamborees that we've seen. I mean, just take a clear-cut example. We are living in a country now today. You're talking about moving from Nigeria to Hajj. It's costing about 8 million naira. And you expect the poor people to do when you are not even providing them with the basic necessity of how to do that, how to even ensure that they can pay. So it is not overflogging the issue. It's a reality that we all know, except of course if you are being hypocritical about it. And you cannot be hypocritical when you cannot meet your 3 square meal in your house. Your children are basically crying for food. Common thing that Nigerians usually, food is becoming a difficult thing for us as a country.
Talk to me about the expression state capture. Why does he keep re-echoing that?
Good. There is a choreographed messaging or action being taken by this government to show a clarity of capturing the state and putting the country in their pocket. Today, we have the police IG's position being extended. Today, we have salaries of the judges being extended or kind of being increased 300%. While
there's a new minimum wage in town.
But while the minimum, nobody has seen it up to today. The civil servants have already been told. They've been told that they are going to give them 70,000 naira. But at the end of it all, what happened? They increased the pump price of petroleum, which of course have retrogressive effect on their salary. Now they increase it to about 1,000. We are buying for now at about 1,200, 1,000. Even is raising to 1,500. And then the exchange rate itself has gone above to 1,600. So all of the indices, that basic indices that are supposed to reduce the cost of living, is being increased, and then they increase the salary. So there is no commensurate increase. It's just kind of jacking up the poverty level to a higher level.
Some would say, Dr. Tanko, you're talking about state capture because judges have had the improvement in their remunerations. A lot of people will say it's long overdue. You talk about the extension of the IG's tenure because of his age in service. I mean, it's a legal process. The Senate approved it, so many people will say it's by the book. There's nothing out of the ordinary there. But also, a lot of people would say, well, look at what the Tinubu administration is trying to do with local government autonomy, trying to empower local governments. How is that state capture, for instance? Is it not fair to say that, you know, the messaging from the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate is akin to giving a dog a bad name in order to hang it?
Not at all. Well, a practical example. Now, we just had local government elections. Some of these particular local government elections have been conducted by state electoral commission. Now, these elections is just for you to ensure that there's a clarity and opportunity for other political parties to at least win 1 or 2 seats in the But you and I know that there are most of the governors who make sure that it's their cronies and their brothers and sisters who end up being chairman of this particular local government. In fact, there is accusation being made on some other persons that there is a document that you will sign before you even get nominated to go for election. And that is the reason why some of the election, the Labour Party under his leadership of Peter Obi's leadership, he told them that, look, Nadia Usman, saying that, look, there's no need even going to this particular election because it will end up producing some of those particular difficult ones that you cannot even say A, B, C with clarity has won the election. So, in other words, it's just like empowering those particular persons in position of power to continue to dominate, as the case may be. And that does not simply bring the clarity that every Nigerian will have aspired that we will win it. So, we have been asking if for us to have a clear elections, that really this particular government is sincere about leadership challenge, which everybody knows, let them do an electoral reform on the electoral process. The last straw that can break the camel's back, it will be the next appointment of the INEC chairman, which will complete the strategy in which they are trying to do to ensure that they have the Independent Electoral Commission under their kitty, they have the police and the army under their kitty, they have the judiciary under their kitty, even thugs on the street, they have them under their kitty. So invariably, what it simply means is that a normal human being under a normal constitution may not be able to win any election. So we will call.
We saw the Edo elections. It was non-violent to a certain degree, much better than what we saw in 2023. So some would say that while there are imperfections still within the electoral process, in some areas, things are rather, commendable.
What happened even before the election? There was serious intimidation. Even the governor himself came out and made a huge cry. So that is to tell you that the intimidation
also.
Well, he made because right from the beginning, he understands the languages in which, because he was a former APC candidate or governor at the point in time. So he knows their language. The language they have is a language of intimidation, arrest, maiming, and probably coercing, and probably conspire against the people. There was clear report that that particular election was heavily induced by money. And we all know, why you put the people in a perpetual poverty, then you give them the money so that they can survive, and thinking that they can survive with it, and then they go and vote for your candidate.
Right.
Those are some of the strategies that we've already seen.
Doctor, what do you say to people who say they can't contrast the messaging of Peter Obi when it comes to, politicking and being one of the leading opposition figures in the country? That every time he talks about the state of the polity, it sounds like he's still politicking, he's still, campaigning.
It's because we are used to docility. When we run for elections, many political parties go to sleep after the election.
You're saying this is the way it's supposed to be?
Yes, this is how democracy entails. You see, that's why probably if we have run a parliamentary system of governance, the questioning will have not even be only on the media. It could have been on the frontal page, because Peter Obi will have been a leader at the parliament. And then when you ask questions, you will ask the president or the prime minister direct questions, openly. So it's a continuous basis. And what is the end result? The end result for such challenges is for improvement. Not personal attack, nothing like that, but just for the government to be rightly seated on its throne and do what is needed for the interest of the people. I mean, how can, in all due honesty, as we are today, we went on the street to fight or to protest for the increase of petroleum pricing on 5 naira only. Today, the prices, as I said, is about 1,600 and something, and nobody is doing anything.
Looks like you're buying from, one of those filling stations that are extorting you, because the prices are hovering around 1,000 plus, 1,000.
Amazingly for you, if I may be able to say correctly, maybe your car, and if you are lucky, that's for you now, probably if you have been able to get one, considering the economic situation, you will go to a filling station. Your tank is 60 liters in a tank. If the price is about 1,000, 1,002, you are expected that 60,000 naira should have been able to feed your tank on the basis of 1-to-1. But at the end of it, or you may end up paying about 100 or something thousand. Now, we have regulatory bodies and all. If you say probably the prices is different, that maybe 1,600, because already it has been institutionalized by those who are in position of power, and they look at the leadership. When the leadership is bad and corrupt, in quote, everybody within that line follows suit. So if there are differences, why must there be any difference?
Okay. I mean, the economics of it explains it, especially in the cost of production, cost of transportation, and all of these things.
That is because we are not producing.
Yeah.
And the mantra of Peter Obi has always been production to consumption, not consumption. We are not subsidizing production. We are only taking consumption on consumption. But we cannot be like that. We need to be productive as a country.
Okay. Just your final thoughts. The president's Independence Day message has divided opinions, as you can imagine. What are your positive and I dare say negative takeaways from the president's speech? If you can, sum it up in 1 minute.
Well, for me, as far as I'm concerned, the president has not been able to strike a chord. He has not been able to strike a meaningful chord to the interests of the Nigerian people. It seems to me he's somebody who is not prepared for governance. Not prepared for governance in such a way that...
From his speech?
Yes, he's not prepared for governance. Because if he was prepared for governance, the Nigerian state had a big problem right even before he took over office. For somebody who is prepared, Nigeria is a kind of a research project which has a statement of problem which has already been established. And the statement problem of this particular country is bad leadership. And everybody knows that. When you know that the problem is bad leadership, all you need to do is provide that good leadership as a solution. When you have your aims and objectives, you will look at it. Then you put up your hypothesis that will prove that in that value. At this particular time, we are talking about inviting people, the younger ones, for a conference. When you know that if you are prepared, you don't need a conference because this problem has already been established.
Unfortunately, for want of time, we're going to have to end it. But a quick yes or no. If the presidency or the federal government invites you for that youth conference, would you be attending?
Oh, definitely no. Because already the...
Definitely no?
Definitely no. Because to me, it's going to be like a jamboree. We've already had series of conferences. All these
not a national youth one.
It doesn't really matter because the same problem, because everything that you want to be discussed has already been discussed in the air. You don't need any conference.
Okay. Dr. Yunusa Tanko, I wish we could continue with us all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us on Daily Politics.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have you this evening. We've been speaking to the National Coordinator of the Obedient Movement, Dr. Tanko Yunusa, on the state of the nation, especially against the backdrop of the comments of Mr. Peter Obi, who was the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, live at 8 p.m, exclusive as always on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the rest of the team, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon.